The New York Rangers just teased something huge with a huge win against the Montreal Canadiens, ending a 5-game losing streak. They showed some fight. Their captain set the tone early, and we're going to dive into some other stats that may surprise Rangers fans on this episode of Rangers Digest. We're going to break it all down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And I know what you're probably thinking as soon as you clicked on this video. Well, we only beat the Montreal Canadiens. It's not that big of a win. Yes, it is. It is a big deal for the New York Rangers in this game, and I'm going to break down exactly why. And it's because they showed some fight in this game. Their captain kicking it off early, Jacob Trouba engaging himself in the game, getting into a fight with Josh Anderson. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. You are the captain. You're setting the tone early after losing 5 games in a row. This is exactly what Jacob Trouba needs to do. I'm glad that he did it in this game because, you know, his leadership has been called into question. I called it into question last episode, right? Just a video ago. So I'm glad that he kicked the game off like that. But the biggest story, I think, coming into today's game was that Riley Smith was a healthy scratch in today's game against the Montreal Canadiens. And I thought that was very interesting. If I was going to healthy scratch somebody, it would not be Riley Smith, but I understand what Peter Laviolette is doing because he wants his top guys still in the lineup so they can probably convert on special teams, and that's exactly what they did in this game. So I have to give credit where credit is due to Laviolette. I assume that's what his, thought pattern was, and it did pay off if that's why he did that. So we'll break down, obviously, the game a little bit more. Trocheck, getting a goal. Panarin, I think, has been great pretty much all season. He's been a bright spot, I think, on this team. So great from them. We'll get into the final goal in a minute too and some other things that I liked as well. But yes, Riley Smith. And a little bit of a different lineup for the New York Rangers in this game as well. This was the first time, according to Vince Mercogliano and a couple other reporters like Molly Walker, this is the first time that they can recall in the last 6 seasons not seeing Zibanejad take the first line rush in morning skate, and he didn't. He played on the third line. So I thought that was very interesting. A demotion, a clear demotion from Coach Peter Laviolette. Obviously not being healthy scratched like Riley Smith, but a clear demotion for the first line center. Berard also stays in the lineup over a guy like Riley Smith because obviously in this game, you see, we'll get to here in a second, Kreider returned to the lineup as well as Chytil, who took on first line duties. Look at that first line. Awesome. Panarin, Chytil, and Cuylle. Well deserved from Chytil and Cuylle. And obviously Chytil coming back from injury in this game, but Cuylle has been, for sure, without a doubt, in my eyes, the Rangers, absolutely their best player this year. 100%. There is no denying that in my eyes. And you know what? If you look at the scrums in this game too, I thought it was great. Like obviously, Zibanejad gets pushed onto Quick. Quick gets into the scrum. Look who comes into the scrum as well. It is, we'll get to that in a second. It is Cuylle grabbing guys, throwing guys around, throwing punches. He's grabbing the Habs #1 overall draft pick and throwing hands, ripping helmets off, and then pile driving them into the ice. I mean, maybe don't agree with pile driving heads into the ice, but I love that from Will Cuylle. This guy is a monster. He said, when he was drafted just a couple years ago, that he models his game after Tom Wilson. If the Rangers even get 80% of what Tom Wilson is, this is going to be a dangerous player offensively, defensively, and obviously physically. So I love that from Will Cuylle. He has been the Rangers' best player this season. And this was the theme for today's game because Jacob Trouba set the tone right away, fighting in the first 2 minutes. Rangers get pummeled for 5 straight games. Game 6, fight everyone. And from Phil, this is a great point. Unsurprisingly, it's working. This is hockey. You have to be engaged. You have to throw your body around a little bit. You have to show that you care and that you want to win the game. The effort needs to be there. I saw that from the Rangers today. Yes, you can make the argument that the opponent is not the greatest. They're not a playoff team, not even close to a playoff team, but you have to take the fight and the effort out of this game. And I saw that from the Rangers in this game, and I think that is a good thing. And you get the win out of it. You have to take that from this game 100%. And speaking of physicality, Brett Berard did get hurt in this game. He did return to the game, so that was good news. He did finish the game, and obviously it was a shoulder. This game got physical. So a couple of the Rangers rookies getting their taste of NHL action as well. And Chytil returned from injury today as well. And I'll get into the final goal. I want to touch on Chytil, Cuylle, and of course Kaapo Kakko. Returned from injury today. He says, I know my body. He was kept out for a little bit longer than people would have thought. And it wasn't related to a concussion. So a lot of people, there's a lot of question marks starting to pop up. He went on to say, I know my body. I know what's going on, even with my head, with what I went through last year as well. There have been hard moments. When there is an opportunity to be back and my whole body feels great, I jump back in. And he went on to say, there was a lot of talking with trainers. I know myself. I know my head a lot. Nobody knows it more than myself. When I felt it could be better and it was going well, it was nice. But the most important thing is you've got to feel 100%. And I totally agree with that. This is a player who had to take a practice, right? He had to feel 100% to get back in the lineup. And I think he's been another really bright spot, probably the second best player, third best player, whatever you want to call it this season. If you look at the stats of what was the third line and now has kind of been dispersed amongst the lineup, Will Cuylle this season, 19 points in 22 games. He has been fantastic. His ice time is slowly going up and he's earned it. He was playing on the first line tonight, or this afternoon, excuse me. Filip Chytil this year as well. Again, 9 points in 15 games. His ice time has slowly increased as well. He's obviously missed some more time with some injuries as well. Did last year as well. And then Kaapo Kakko this year, again, Will Cuylle has been the guy, I think, this year. But Kaapo Kakko, again, game-winning goal today, 12 points in 22 games. And, doing it in, 13 minutes average ice time, and obviously not playing that much on the special teams. But I think that that's going to change, especially for a guy like Will Cuylle. I think he's been fantastic so far this season. And speaking of him and Kaapo, on the winning goal, this was a fantastic play. You need the killer instinct. I thought the Rangers brought that, at least on this shift. And I want to get into the goal specifically, which was fantastic. Zach Jones obviously getting stripped here, but keeping the play alive. Look at this touch pass from Cuylle over the Kakko. No mistake on the play whatsoever. It was a fantastic play. But I wanted to point out, this is the final minute of this game. And look who's on the ice for the New York Rangers. It's Cuylle, it's Kakko, it's Zach Jones, Zibanejad is there, but it's all the guys, maybe minus Zibanejad, who have earned ice time this season. Final minute of play, power play, you need a goal. You have guys like Will Cuylle on the ice. Like, who would have thought, really, if you thought about it at the start of the season? In that moment, you'd probably think at the start of the season, you'd have Zibanejad out there, Chris Kreider, obviously, Panarin. No, the final minute of play, even if you wanted to take a timeout, take your chances, all of that. Will Cuylle's on the ice. Kaapo Kakko's on the ice. Chytil was also on the ice. You have Zibanejad and Zach Jones. I think that was awesome. These are some adjustments that Peter Laviolette has made, and I think that they're great. I said in my last video that I don't think Peter Laviolette is the problem at this point. Even if you were to fire him, maybe to make a statement, but at this point with this core, you've gone through 3 coaches, right? You can't go through another one, so let's not make that move too quickly. I do like the adjustments from Peter Laviolette, and it's the team, it's the players themselves that have to respond. And they did exactly that in this game, but they have to continue to keep this rolling and beat some good teams. They have to play more sustainable hockey and a physical brand of hockey. And I think a guy like Will Cuylle is leading the way. And I think that, credit where credit is due. He has been horrible lately, but Jacob Trouba, and checked out for that matter, but Jacob Trouba set the tone for this game by fighting 2 minutes in and saying, hey, you know what? I know we've lost 5 games in a row, but I'm going to fight here. We're going to set the tone early. We're going to get on the board, and we're going to play a physical brand of hockey. And I think that it really paid off for the Rangers in this game. So pretty exciting stuff if they can continue to build off this. This was the type of galvanizing moment that I think they needed. If they continue to build off this, then I think that's great. And this team can, move towards obviously making the playoffs, getting back into a divisional playoff spot. But we'll see if they do that in a couple games next week. So let me know in the comments what you thought of today's game. I thought it was very interesting, much more physical brand of hockey, which I love. Will Cuylle has been fantastic this season. I said it like 600 times in this video, but he has been great. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.